Watem here, and welcome back to some more Umineko and Seagulls Cry. Let us continue. A letter with the pin and the bank's main branch written on it. Magnetic card. A key with an attached number plate. Inscription of the number plate was A113. The number right after the one on the key that had been sent to Nunja. Most likely inside the vault was the same kind of duralumin case, packed with 100 million yen in cash.
死んだお袋がメイドから送ってきたような気がしてね。中身もよくわからんし、薄気味悪いんでずっとほったらかしにしてて、今日まですっかり忘れてたんですわ。お嬢さんはこれが何かご存知なんですかね。ひょっとしてあんたんとこにも同じものが？
I'm going to assume no. Oh, maybe.
どうしたんです？園児様。うりゅう、頭痛？ごめん。頭が痛い。
Interesting. It might have been before Eva really adopted her.
刺さってる。知ってる。知ってるって何を？まさかこの封筒、園児様のところにも
？I've remembered. A strange envelope was also sent to me 12 years ago. After losing my entire family, I was depressed. But it was a really strange thing to come in the mail, so I still had a faint memory of it. It was a strange letter, which I had no memory of sending, which had me as the sender. I figured the destination address, but the named recipient had been Ushiromiya Rudolph, my father. I remember how disturbed I was when I got a letter I thought was from father, opened it up, and found a key in the card that I didn't really understand. I felt let down and threw it away somewhere, I think. Where did I put that envelope? I probably lost it somewhere in the chaos that followed. By now, I have no way of checking its contents. However, I have a general idea. I'm sure the contents were the same. Without a doubt, there had been a key, a card, and a note with a pin inside the envelope.
Beatrice. これは何のつもりよ。あいつは全ての遺族にこんなふざけた金をばらまいたというの？
I've forgotten how much was supposed to be in there, like 100 million yen or something like that? If you've got that, probably not times 19, maybe times... I'm not sure. Because like people... Well, where would Maria and Eva... Like, where would Maria's one? Who would that be to? And, Rosa. I mean, who would be receiving that letter? Who would be receiving Battler's letter? And I guess Kyria could be, like, her side of the family. What about Eva? Would there be one? Now that would be interesting. If Eva received one from herself, sent by herself.
死んだ後も愚弄するなんて許せない。 ウリュ、エンジ。
Sakataro acted nervously. As I looked at his worrying face, my agitation began to cool off bit by bit.
ごめんなさい。ベアトリーチェ憎しは今に始まったことじゃないわ。あの6歳の日に、もうすでにあの魔女と縁があったことに驚きと怒りを感じただけよ。
Also, between last part and this part, I did go back and check. It was part 42 from chapter 3, which had the numbers first appear. And we talked about, I think, Battler's birthday being the 15th of July, matching up with the 0715. Hmm.
この12年間
I didn't really gain anything new from that. But, yeah, it was on the wall there. I don't know why it would be.
エンジ様はずっとベアトリーチェ様の呪縛にとらわれてきた。これがそのまさに呪縛の証となるのかもしれません。ですがどうかしっかりそれを打ち破るための旅でもあるはずです。
そうね。頭に血を上らせたって何の役にも立たないわ。
So far, we don't know of anyone who's actually taken the money. One person saw it and went, "Nope, not going to touch that." One person went, "Oh yeah, that was a thing. I didn't understand it." One person threw it away.
冷静に考えなくちゃ。これはどういうことなの？遺族に1億円をばらまく意味は何？
And if there is one sent to Golda's family, they're probably not from the local area. It seemed like Golda was taken from like a hotel thing, I think.
挑発だとでも言うの？ベアトリーチェめ。
エンジェ、落ち着いて。
I was going to say I'm not sure about relevance. Let's be honest, I have no clue what the relevance is.
ウリュ
Not yet, at least. Sakataro buried his head in my stomach. He urged me to stay calm. I took another deep breath and started thinking.
この封筒の送付はつまり、ベアトリーチェによる事件の計画性を裏付けるものかしら。
I guess, yeah, they did have messages in the bottle. So, maybe.
消印は親族会議の直前。そしてわざと時間をかけて返送されてくるように仕組まれている。事件の後に届くようにしたかったということかな。
And to send it before the incident.
うん。そうなるわ。でも少し疑問もあるの。
Whoever sent it was probably aware, that, well, murder.
なぜこんな不確実な方法で？
不確実？
ええ。だって何日で郵便が戻ってくるかなんて事前には想像もできないじゃない。
You just need it to arrive after the fact. You don't need it to arrive on a specific date there.
郵送先の郵便局が調査し、送付先不明と判断し返送するまでの期間なんて普通は想像もできない。
そういえばそうだね。ちゃんと到着の期日を決めて、そういう郵便で出した方が確実なのにね。
So, There's money involved, is there? That is a bit of a conundrum. All the siblings have looked into each other's finances and they know that they're struggling. They don't have several hundreds of millions of yen to give away. So unless we were planning on getting all the gold or all the money with during the family conference, and then return back fast enough to then fill the safety deposits. But the whole thing that sprung this up is because I was thinking, I mean, they don't really need it to arrive after, let's say. They don't really need to care about the date it arrives after, but they don't really even need to care about when it arrives after, because it could still be while they're at the island, but they're cut off. So there's no communication one way or the other, so it doesn't really matter if it arrives then. The only thing that it would affect is someone could then go to the bank, to the safety deposit box, potentially before money gets put in. So they'd either have to be sure that they'd be able to return in time, or the money was already there. If money was already there, who had that money to put it there? Who had the money to give it away? And someone that knew the pin, presumably. I think we're pretty sure with the end of the last one there was an extra person that wasn't accounted for one way or another. That's what the ending seemed to suggest, I think. We weren't aware of who that extra person was. Why? So that person is presumably the person that left the number on the wall there? It has to be someone that knew about the letters, which... like in the bank, the safety deposits. And it's following the same kind of paint and everything that the murder symbols were using. So, Battle was surprised to see them. He knew who the person was, but also didn't expect them to be on the island or alive, one of the two. So, Ever and Hideyoshi was the one having money problems. If Ever had money, then that wouldn't have been an issue. I think we can discount children from having money. Battler might be an exception though, because he's been living with grandparents on his mother's side, who have both passed away. Perhaps he received some inheritance from that. And he's been living away, so he hasn't been in much contact with Rudolph or Kyrie. Rudolph was one having money problems and didn't want to let Kyrie know. Kyrie potentially could have it. Kraus and Natsui. Kraus is potentially embezzling funds? Ooh. Oh. They're thinking real estate investment. What if... I wouldn't know why, but perhaps has the possibility to obtain several hundreds of millions of yen for embezzlement. That would be an interesting theory. Not Jessica. Natsuhi. Maybe? Not sure. Don't have anything either strong or against her. Kinzo? Definitely. Maybe. Except the leading theory was he was already dead in that 3. Nanjo seems odd. It was his son that received the envelope. Although it could also be something like in Agatha Christie. I think it was Agatha Christie's Van Nun. In which the murderer pretends to be one of the victims and then also, I think, then commits suicide in a way matching his supposed murder. Because he already knew that he didn't have long left to live, which would fit with Kinzo. But Nanjo, I mean, he's also getting old. I wouldn't understand why. And it doesn't feel right with his son also getting money. Maybe it would be to disguise the fact. Maybe his intention was to give it over to his son. More money than would normally be able to give him. Rosa, from what we've seen, doesn't seem right, but perhaps there's something being hidden from us. She does seem... She is quieter than the other siblings, and she does seem a bit removed from them. Without... Yeah. And keeping things from Maria as well already. But she is fairly isolated even from her own daughter and from the rest of everyone else. Maybe? Genji... I don't think I can say anything for these 3. Goda, I don't think so. Doesn't fit what we've heard of his character from the others. Doesn't seem like he's in a position to have the money, and neither would Chio. The servants could potentially have access through Kinzo or some other similar way. One way or another. Nanjo. Again, it would probably have to be through Kinzo. Why was it that Rosa needed money again? Yeah, okay, the design company, it's far from favourable, but... So, yeah. Far from favourable, she probably still has... Isn't in a great need for money, however, wouldn't have the several hundred million yen. Actually... Well, taking from the company at least. Well, in terms of what she can take from the company at least, so I mean. Several hundreds of millions, that would be multiple $1 million, yeah. And back in the 80s as well. They probably not. Battler's grandparents probably wouldn't have that much money to give to him either. And Hmm. But she has been separated from the rest. So possibly we don't have enough information.
前日に投函したんなら、どんなに早く戻ってきても、きっと月曜日以降の到着になったでしょうし、死者からの手紙を気取りたかったんじゃないかしら。
死者からの手紙か。
It's not quite right for that because it's still postmarked before they died.
確かにね。
But something else.
あれは驚くし、嫌な気持ちになるわよ。死んだ家族の名前が表に大きく書かれている郵便物が、物々しい付箋付きで郵便受けに放り込まれているんだから。でも私は何か腑に落ちないわ。私だったら期日指定郵便にする。ひょっとしたら想定しない日に届くかもしれないという不安定さが私にはどうしても理解できないの。
ウリュウ。でも確かにそういうのベアトらしいかなって思う。
Leaving some things up to chance.
あなたベアトのことわかるの？
ちょっとしかお話ししたことないけど、でもベアトならこういうことをするかなってのがなんとなくわかるの。マモンもなんとなく想像がつかない？ベアトってこういういたずら好きだよね。確かにそうかも。ベアドリージュ様なら死者からの手紙みたいな悪質ないたずらはやりかねないと思います。それだけじゃなくて、絶対確実な方法じゃなくて、ちょっぴり不確実な方法の方をベアトリーチェは面白がるの。
不確実な方法を面白がる？
That sounds a lot like Kinzo. I remembered Maria One-chan's diary. Described playing with Beatrice very often. During those times, Beatrice sometimes played pranks on the adult relatives with Maria. Those pranks always had a touch of witch aesthetics. Which was, they were more interesting when they were uncertain. One day, Maria One-chan and Beato decided to use a wind-up minicar she had brought for a prank. It was a popular toy at the time, and if you made the minicar back up, it would wind the spring in the tyres, and when you let go, it would race forwards. They had wound up that minicar and set it behind a milk jug. In other words, the prank was that, if you lifted the milk jug, the minicar would jump forwards and surprise whoever did it. Hoping that someone would get caught in this prank, One-chan and Beato had watched the adults from the shadows for their whole tea time. They were looking forward to someone getting caught by it, but no one moved the trapped milk jug, and the trap ended in a misfire. When One-chan had then muttered, "We should have put it somewhere where it would have definitely caught someone," Beato apparently said this. She said, "The most interesting and thrilling traps are those where you don't know who will get caught, or even if anyone will get caught at all." Probably true that you wouldn't get this kind of excitement from a trap that would certainly go off. Yeah. I mean, it also would probably surprise the other person the most. Those kinds of traps. Similar accounts occurred in multiple places, making it possible to guess that the witch called Beatrice had a fickle character and loved a random thrill. A fickle person is very hard to deal with. Indeed. I can't spin the chessboard around to find out what that witch from 12 years ago was planning. Just keep spinning. As Sanjay examined these, her gaze darted from place to place. Then, she suddenly showed an interest in the wall. You know, this kind of reminds me of Higurashi. I feel like specifically having a shrine there with the table with the... Although I guess they didn't have the fence there in the Sonozaki mansion. There, several framed pictures were hung. Many of them were commemorative photos from when the relatives of the Kumasawa family gathered or went somewhere to play, and Kumasawa was in several. And she still wore a smile that made it so you could almost hear her light-hearted ho 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 laugh out of my distant memory. I definitely remember that she was this sort of cheerful old lady. You also couldn't see it, but I did put my hand up to my mouth to do the ho 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 ho.
熊沢さんは事件の直前に変わった様子はありましたか？
いや、いつも通りに見えたな。親族会議はピリピリするから辛い辛いと漏らすのはいつものことでしたし。
これは？
Among the several frames, there was one that had something other than a picture of people in it. It was a picture of an enlarged relief of a door from a Western-style house or something. Couldn't see any interesting subject in particular, which actually bugged me a bit, as I wondered why anyone had gone to all the trouble of taking it. As I got closer, I realized that some characters had been written with a pen.
ああ、それはお袋の形見分けでもらってきた写真ですわ。
That up there, cross. Can't quite make out what's underneath. It seems to be kind of leaf patterns in there, maybe a sun up there, or a halo. Increased brightness. Ah, one-winged eagle motif there. With maybe some roses, I think, or flowers coming out and leaves as well.
多分例の黄金伝説に関係したやつではないかと。
魔女の碑文ですか？10トンの黄金の隠し場所を示すと噂される。熊沢さんも挑んでおられたんですね。でもこれは碑文じゃない。初めて見るものです。
Line up the front, perhaps 2 lines up the front. There was an arch above the western-style door, and that's where the relief was. English words were engraved there, and that seemed to be what the picture was focused on. Okay. It's not what I'm seeing, but oh well. The pen writing appeared to be a translation into Japanese.
この扉は1000兆分の1の確率でしか開かない。
Is that the, what is it, chapel?
あなたは1000兆分の1の確率でしか祝福されない。知らないわ。こんな文章、碑文にもお姉ちゃんの日記にも出てこない。
お袋の遺品の中に碑文の謎解きに挑戦してると思われる写真やノートが結構出てきたんですわ。
Interesting.
お袋も案外そういうのが好きだったんだな。なんでも10トンの金塊が隠されてたって噂だ。そりゃあお袋も夢中になるはずですわ。
In both Maria One-Chan's diary and in her grimoire, there was a description of the witch's epitaph. It had talked about how it was a ceremony to open the door to the Golden Land, Beatrice's resurrection ceremony, Beatrice's succession ceremony. On and on. Maybe the most interesting one was the last part, about it being a succession ceremony. According to Beatrice, if you were able to solve a witch's epitaph, you would receive not only the 10 tons of gold and the Ushirimiya family inheritance, but her own magical power and name, as well as the title of Golden Witch. Among the Ushirimiya family household at the time, the witch's epitaph was thought of as a difficult quiz which the family head, Kinzo, had arranged for to choose a successor. But with the mariage sorcière interpretation, the questioner was Beatrice herself, and she had posed the question in part to choose her successor. There were slight discrepancies in the details of the two interpretations. Either way, Its ominous contents brought to mind a bloody serial murder. Both of the message bottles drew a tale of a crime following that pattern. If I could solve the witch's epitaph now, 12 years later, I wonder if I could expose some plot made back then. I tried to solve it many times myself, but I never did have a clue what it meant. It seems that many witch hunters tried as well. I also found theories like the La Plata theory, Yanora theory in certain books. However, neither of these theories were conclusive.
他にも資料が？
あると思うけど、兄弟で適当に分けたからな。誰が何を持ってるやらさっぱりですわ。申し訳ない。
この熊沢さんが撮影した英文だけ読むと、めったに開かれない開かずの扉という印象を受ける。
Yeah, we saw that near the chapel from...
でも、これは屋敷のどこかしら？
or something to a similar effect.
光の具合から屋外みたいだけど。熊沢さんは、この中にその黄金が隠されていると睨んでたのかしら。
さあ。いずれにせよ、六軒島の屋敷のどこかでしょうな。お袋の預金口座には、残念だが黄金を発見したと思えるようなお金は入ってませんでしたよ。さすがに見つからんかったんでしょうな。
The Golden Witch, Beatrice, gave 10 tons of gold to Kinzo, which meant that the witch was the true owner of the gold. Beatrice was the owner of all of the vast fortune of the Yoshimiya family. The witch holding this vast wealth had massacred the humans in Rokkenjima on that day, sending large amounts of money to the surviving relatives like it was a game. Like hell, it's a letter from the dead. This is a desecration of the dead. I was once again convinced. When my family died on that island that day, they didn't go to heaven. They're being trapped by the witch even now, and are being desecrated and tormented for all eternity. I think I'm going to end it there today. I hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, where we see what the last place Sanjay visited was. Until then, see ya.